Hey guys, as you might know, my husband and I have been following the keto, ketogenic, low carb, high fat diet since January 1st of 2017. And we've had a lot of success with it, but this whole time we've been getting a lot of questions from our friends about, just questions about how it works and how do they get started. And especially since I shared a comparison photo on Christmas Eve of my husband and I from Christmas Eve 2016 compared to 2017, we've been getting a lot of questions. So I had wanted to put together a video anyway for my friends. So hi friends, if you're watching this, I probably referred you to this video if you asked me a question. But I just wanted to put together like a basics of how the ketogenic diet works, and I can do other videos later to get into more details of like tips and things that have worked for us and different recipes and things. And I've already shared a lot of recipes on my channel too. So if you haven't checked those out, you can go back and watch them after this. But basically the ketogenic or keto diet puts your body into a state of ketosis, which is where it's burning fat for energy instead of carbohydrates. And so that can lead to weight loss, and it can have a lot of other health benefits too, which I'm not going to get into here. And I'm also going to say at this point, I am not a doctor, nutritionist, dietitian, any kind of medical professional. So everything I'm saying is kind of just based on my own experience and the research that I did when we got into this. But basically there are 3 macronutrients, or macros. You might hear people refer to their macros. So there's protein, which your muscles are made out of protein. If you don't get enough protein, you're going to lose muscle mass. There is fat. So your body's also made out of fat. You need it to like keep everything running smoothly. You might have heard the term essential fatty acids. So you need fat that's essential. And then there's carbohydrates, which should be part of your diet, but they're not like a building block of your body. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. So the standard American diet is over 200 grams of carbs per day. And the ketogenic diet should be 20 grams of net carbs or less. And the way you can kind of break that down is your diet should be about 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs. And your net carbs are going to be the total carbohydrates minus fiber. And sugar alcohols also don't count toward your net carbs. So like xylitol, maltol, erythritol, anything that ends with "-ol" basically is a sugar alcohol. So you find those in a lot of like sugar-free sweeteners. So if you're looking, for example, at the nutrition facts on a label and it says it's 10 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber, you can subtract that 5 grams. So it's just going to be 5 grams of net carbs. Also, I should say this is just in the US. In other countries, they subtract the fiber from the carbs to begin with. So make sure you understand how your nutritional label works if you're reading the labels. And it's also important not to have too much protein because that can damage your kidneys and it can have some other health effects too. So what is a carb? Where do you find the carbs? Carbs can be grains or anything derived from a grain, so like rice, flour, oatmeal, beer, pasta, bread, anything like that. Sugar, and sugar's in a lot of things that you probably wouldn't even expect. So read the nutrition labels and see if there's any form of sugar in the product. Fruit, obviously that has sugars. And then like root vegetables, tubers, beans, so things like potatoes, carrots, beets, peas, soybeans, and there's a lot of different soy products. Soy is used in a lot of things, so that's another place where it can kind of sneak up on you. So in a standard diet, carbs are used for fuel, and the excess carbs kind of stay in your body, and that's what leads to weight gain. So in the keto diet, fat is used for fuel. That again is called ketosis, when your body's burning fat for fuel. And it's more of a steady energy source, so you don't get like those ups and downs, you don't get sugar crashes. And it's also, fat is more satiating, is more satisfying. So you might not feel as hungry, you might not end up like snacking as much, and you might just end up eating fewer calories in general just because you feel more full. Now, one other thing is carbohydrates help your body to retain liquids. So number one, you might lose a lot of water weight initially because you're not hanging on to those liquids anymore. Number two, when you're doing this diet, it is important to stay hydrated because again, your body's not really like holding on to liquid by itself. And number three, it can throw off your electrolyte balance. So as your body learns to use this new fuel source, you might experience something that's called the keto flu. We didn't experience it, but apparently a lot of people do. And basically you just have to kind of consume extra electrolytes to get back in balance. So you can do that through sugar-free sports drinks like Gatorade kind of thing, just salt water, pickle juice, some people really swear by, or like a broth with sodium in it. So if you do 20 grams of net carbs per day, that's pretty much guaranteed to put your body into ketosis, which is the fat burning mode. And after that, you might be able to increase them. You might be able to go higher than 20 grams of net carbs per day. Some people can remain in ketosis when they're up to 100 grams of carbs per day. But basically you can just kind of experiment, see how it works for you. As long as you are continuing to lose weight, then you know it's working. If you stop losing weight and you gain weight, then you're not in ketosis anymore. So how did we start? Like probably you are, I was overwhelmed at first and just did a lot of research before we got started. There are a lot of great resources out there. So one website that I always recommend to people is dietdoctor.com. We use that to kind of learn the science behind how it worked in a really simple way. They have a lot of good videos. They have meal plans, so they can actually give you a 2-week meal plan with shopping lists and everything. But actually we followed that for the first week, and by the end of that week I was ready to just go on my own. I had found enough other recipes and things by then that I wanted to try. So but that's a great way to get started, and especially if you're not used to cooking a lot for yourself, it makes it really simple and the recipes are really easy. Also, KetoGenic.net has a lot of great recipes, and I actually found them through their vlog on YouTube, which is fun. They're like a fun young couple, and it shows how they live, like their daily lives following the keto diet. And there are tons and tons of other vlogs and recipe websites and blogs. So really, basically, if there's anything that you're interested in like cooking, just Google a keto version of it, probably already exists. And then another tool that we used is MyFitnessPal, which you can use any kind of like fitness food tracking app, but we used MyFitnessPal. It's a free app, or you can use their website. And one of the things you'll have to do is adjust their like standard settings. So they have it set for more of the standard American diet. So you'll have to adjust your like percentage breakdown, like I explained earlier, to use the keto macro breakdown. And then don't really look so much at the calories, at least at first. Just kind of make sure that your proportions are correct. So again, you want to be 75% fat, 20% protein, 5% carbs. And as long as that kind of pie chart looks right, don't really worry about calories so much at first. You can come back, you know, once you hit more of a plateau and you need to do something further, then you start looking at your calories and reducing that and so on. One of the things that I learned as we started doing this was not to eat if I didn't really feel like it. The lunch that we were having would fill me up so much, I really didn't feel like having a big dinner. So even following that Diet Doctor meal plan, you know, they give you a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I really just didn't feel like eating them, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't force myself to eat this big meal if I don't want. So we did follow the plan pretty closely until we were more confident about like the guidelines and tracking things. We're a little less strict about it now. My husband doesn't even track his food at all. I kind of put it in the app but don't really look at it. I just kind of do it like to keep track for myself and like keep myself accountable maybe a little. In a typical day, like a weekday where I'm going to work, what I would typically eat is for breakfast I would have, and I never really ate breakfast much before anyway. So for breakfast, I would do like a cup of tea with heavy whipping cream and maybe a little sugar-free sweetener. For lunch, usually I prepare meals over the weekend. So I would have like one serving of whatever I had prepared. So I like to make things like smoked Gouda cauliflower mac and cheese. I'll do a taco salad, which is basically everything you'd put in a taco, just without the tortilla. I do a Brussels sprout and egg bake. Fathead pizza. You'll hear about fathead dough when you start looking into this. Then I'll take like berries with mascarpone cheese, do like half an avocado. If I made some kind of treat like sugar-free brownies or cookies or something, I'll bring some of those. And then for dinner, like I said, I usually don't really feel like having a big dinner at that point, so I might just have like a snack of some cheese, some nuts, maybe another cup of tea with heavy whipping cream. One of the things that I read when I first started doing this was the quote, "If your body is already high in fat, you just need to eat low carb." So even though it's the low carb, high fat diet, if you don't really hit your like fat levels that you're supposed to be at for the day, it's okay, because basically it means your body's gonna burn off its own fat, which probably is what you want anyway if you're doing this for weight loss. I also just wanted to like reassure you that it is easy to go out to eat. We go out a lot, and we basically just avoid like bread, pasta, rice. We don't get soda. We didn't really drink soda before anyway, so we usually just do like an unsweetened iced tea or stick with water. Also, there are no carbs in straight hard liquor. That was a big selling point for my husband. And I'm not really super strict at this point about like vegetable carb sources. I would rather get my carbs from a carrot than from a burger bun. So if it's something, you know, with carrots or beets, I love beets. Like, so I'd rather eat a beet than like have a plate of pasta. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, just do your research and maybe just start by eating less carbs. So don't cut all the way back maybe to 20 net grams of carbs, but just eat less than the standard American diet that you're probably currently eating. And I think you'll find even that will have some benefits for you. So hopefully this was helpful. I know it was a lot of information in a short amount of time. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe because I do post a lot of like keto recipes and meal preps and stuff. And please leave a comment of any other questions or anything that you had that you'd like me to discuss, because I can make this a series, like I said, and do other videos and things about this and tips and tricks. So good luck to you in your keto journey, and I will see you next time.